PokeProblemsPodcast, episode 273.
The Seedot episode. Did you know that Seedot enjoys sucking on water and moisture from trees to become shiny? If you could see the wolf doctor's face of horror, terror, possible intrigue.
I thought it was bad enough that it pretends to be a nut so that bird Pokemon will pick it up and carry it far away.
It's the fake nut Pokemon? or maybe the acorn Pokemon.
Well, hello.
Greetings.
I am the Wolf Doctor,
And this is Miz Sylver.
and we'd like to welcome you to the Poke Problems Podcast, the podcast that pretends to be a nut.
I mean, I'm down with that. I think I actually am a nut, professionally.
Well, Miz Sylver, did you do anything on Phalanx Raid Day?
Oh, Wolf Doctor, I did go out and do a whole bunch of Phalanx Raid Day, but I didn't get a shiny one. Did you?
Sadly, no. I really like Phalanx. I always thought it was a really cute Pokemon. I'm a little less mad about getting a shiny once I've seen the shiny. I feel like it's not an improvement over
Wait,
the
what
base
does the
model.
shiny look like?
Well, you know how the regular one is like a gold body and with black and red, like the spikes are red,
Yeah.
and it's really cool looking? Well, the shiny one has just like a brown body with yellow highlights on it. And
I'm confused.
I'm kind of disappointed. I wish it were
What?
cooler.
I will have to investigate this thoroughly later.
Yes. So I did not catch one. You did not either, Miss Sylver?
It's fine. I didn't want a shiny Phalanx. I don't love how it moves. Oh.
Oh, I love how they move and they do the weird formations. Oh, that's one of my favorite parts. But Miss Sylver, we have just started, and actually they've started having the special feature of this season, the Max Out season.
Max it out! And Wolf Doctor, I don't know what is going on, but there are max raids everywhere and little tiny shiny glowing pink balls, and this is very exciting.
Yes, we have to talk a little bit about this. I don't want to do like a definitive max energy, max raids, all that stuff yet, because I feel like I'm still getting a grip on it. But let's talk about max raids in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for just a moment. Was that where that feature was first introduced?
You know, I wonder. Let me think about that. So Scarlet and Violet has the raids that you can go on with other people to catch Pokemon. And even going back to Sword and Shield, there were those little like mini maps where you do a group raid at the end. And I'm wondering, was Sword and Shield the first time that there was any sort of raid-like feature?
Oh, maybe that was the first raid feature. But the thing, I feel like max raids seem more patterned after what's going on in Scarlet and Violet.
Ah, yes.
In Scarlet and Violet, there'd be like these max raid. Well, there were two ways to join, right? You could find max raids at crystals, I guess is what they were, like
Yes,
on the
different
map.
Colored Terra crystals.
Or you could join online either random max raids that other people were hosting, or I think you could specifically host a raid for your party as well.
You could find a crystal on your map and host it from that. Or you could just pick one of the outlines online and hope it's the Pokemon you think it is.
Who's that Pokemon? Name that Pokemon.
I do wish that there would be an April Fool's Days event where they would have the Pokemon rotated at crazy angles to look like other Pokemon. So when you click to do the max raid, you're like, wait a minute, that's not what I clicked on. Ah.
Miss Sylver.
It's Jigglypuff is seen from above.
That's right. So yes. That's what it makes me think of. But essentially now there are new max points on the map that appear and only last for a certain amount of time. And then I don't know what happens when they disappear exactly. I'm still figuring all this out. But they will have max points. And as far as I can tell, they all have a max raid on them. When they first appeared, when they started this feature, you could get max points out of them, but there was no raid on them yet. But maybe nowadays they all have raids.
Well, from what I could tell, not all of them had raids yet.
Okay.
But it was intriguing because have you done any of the max raid maps on the map?
I have. Oh, maps or the...
Oh, just, no, out
yes,
in the open.
Yes,
yeah.
I've done some of those raids.
And you have to have a max Pokemon to battle them, which I didn't realize at first because I already had one from starting the special research quest line on the right.
Right.
But if you haven't started that quest line and completed the first page, you won't
can't.
have a
Yeah.
max Pokemon. So you have
That's
to start
right.
that before you can actually do the raids, which is important.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, that one's not too bad. It's just, I think...
But if you
first
didn't
one,
realize it before
yeah.
you went up to it, like, I'm not going to mention who it was, but we went to a max raid last night, and he's like, wait a minute, this doesn't work. I don't even see it there. And I'm like, why? So we had to figure out what he had to do first. There's a few steps.
There's a few steps. I think there's some of them... This new max out raid quest is set up to be pretty straightforward to do. It just takes a few days because you can only gather max energy at such a rate, and you have to figure out the max features like the like how you power up moves and things like that.
And to power up all of your max moves, you'll have a couple different types of moves. You'll need not just all of these max points that you gather from all these various power spots, but you also need candy for the Pokemon. And you're going to need a lot
of candy.
Especially once you start maxing the max move.
Okay, here's what I didn't realize. You don't have to max one of those moves to unlock the next one. You can just pick the next ones.
I just unlocked them all. I didn't know that.
I thought you had I was like, okay, let me power up this move until the next one unlocks. You can pick, there are 3 max moves. You know, one is a attack, one of them's a defend, and one of them's a heal, I think.
Spirit.
But
It
essentially...
heals the user and allied Pokemon.
Yeah, essentially, you can unlock those moves. You come with the attack one, but you can unlock the other moves without maxing out the attack one. We're getting into all these little weird details, but essentially what it is an opportunity to have a raid to catch a Pokemon that's capable of Dynamaxing. They've said that Gigantamaxing Pokemon,
Ooh.
based on what they're saying, it makes me think they will appear.
And if you are not familiar with Gigantamaxing or Dynamaxing from the Pokemon Sword and Shield games, by the way, if you want to hear great music, look up the battle music from Dynamaxing from the stadiums. It's epic. But Dynamaxing makes your Pokemon huge and gives it the ability to use all these new max moves and puts a little cloud above its head. But when you get to Gigantamax, it actually changes form. It looks different visually.
Yes, there we go, Miz Sylver. That's how this all worked. You had Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing were introduced in Sword and Shield, and then these max raids appeared in Scarlet and Violet. So that's what it's borrowing from, is that paradigm.
I'm excited and can't wait for all of these Gigantamaxings because, especially things like Snorlax, which, I mean, it's already a big Pokemon. And then you make it even huger. You lay it flat. It almost looks like a planet. It's got plants growing off it and hanging everywhere. It's fabulous.
Yeah, I like the Gigantamaxing. It's a little different than Mega Evolving in terms of how it changes the Pokemon's appearance. I feel like the Gigantamaxes are very kind of playful interpretations of the Pokemon and make them look kind of ridiculous as opposed to like the Mega Evolutions look fierce, you know, where the Gigantamaxes are a little more playful and silly.
See, now I just want to go through all the different Gigantamax and Dynamax Pokemon and see all the fun forms.
So that's what's going on with the max Pokemon, but now you have to worry about this whole collecting max points, going to these battles, etc. Right now the battles are pretty easy.
Yeah, I was worried because, as I said, I went to a max raid with someone else last night, expecting both of us to be able to do it, and I was like, can I take this by myself? I don't know, because usually these raids you have a group of 4 trainers with you in the mainline games, but I managed to take down, a Charmander by myself. I was very excited. I don't know if you battled or what you battled.
I have done a Wooloo, a Squovet, a Charmander, and a Bulbasaur. I need to do a Squirtle still.
A Bulbasaur!
But all of these have been doable without, once you've got those Dynamax Pokemon, without any buffing of these creatures.
And it should be noted that once you battle these Pokemon, you have the option to leave one of your Pokemon there in the power spot, which I don't know what that means or why that happens, but I just left it there.
So
I hope it's
did
okay.
That too. And when it came back, it brought coins just like gym Pokemon do. So like I don't know if you can get it. You apparently can recall them to yourself at any time, unlike the gym Pokemon. But I just kind of left it there, and I was like, what does this mean? But when the spot closed, they came back. Oh. And it was similar. I don't know if it's the same coin buildup rate as gyms or what, but they just came back with coins. I suspect there's the same kind of limit on how many coins a day you get that way. There's a lot we don't know yet, and this will probably be a back to basics topic for the future once we have figured this whole thing out.
Ooh. And now that I'm looking at my Pokemon that's at a max spot, I see it's done 5 battles, and it has 5 candy.
Does that mean it helped 5 battles?
We'll never know.
Like, did it appear? Like, none of the ones I did another Pokemon appear with me. I mean, I was alone. I wasn't with another trainer in person like you were, who couldn't do it anyway. But I wasn't with another trainer at any of those times, so I didn't see it. But I also have no idea if other Pokemon were in there.
After I left my Pokemon there, you probably saw this too. I could see other people's Pokemon that had been left there. So what is the Pokemon that I was battling? Was it the one that spawned there or somebody else's that got left there?
I think the ones that you leave there help other people in some way. And I think they also said they help promote like spawns or in some way. I don't know. There's a lot to know. But keep your eye out if you get Dynamax Pokemon. We don't know like how frequent we're going to have them or how valuable they'll be, but they have a little symbol when you see it in your Pokedex. Like if you're just looking through your Pokemon storage, there's the max symbol, which is a kind of X outline. So you'll know even without even clicking on it that it's a Dynamaxable Pokemon.
Yep. Get out there, explore, catch more of them, battle more of them.
So this season is called Max Out because of this new dynamic they're introducing this year.
And Wolf Doctor, there are some Pokemon events coming up this weekend for Pokemon Go.
Let's talk about those, Miz Sylver. What have we got going?
There's Pokemon Go Community Day for Ponyta, which means it's not just Ponyta, it's also Galarian Ponyta.
Ponyta.
The My Little Pony Pokemon.
Yes. I think we talked about this one a couple episodes ago because they'd just announced it, but that is this weekend, so it's a good reminder for people.
And if you're around on Saturday, September 14th from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern, that's when you're supposed to go catch all of them in the wild.
In your local time, wherever you are. Not just, we're in Eastern, so that's when we're going to be doing it, but you guys, wherever you are.
Isn't everyone on Eastern?
On the Eastern Seaboard?
Well, if you evolve either type of Ponyta this weekend into a Rapidash, both of them learn the move Wild Charge.
Oh, is that a good move for Ponyta?
It's an electric move from what I can remember, and I thought it was interesting that it's the same move for both of them. I'm not sure competitively how this works out, but it's just cool that it's the same for both of them.
It is. Is that normal?
So looking it up really quick, at least Sandshrew, I can't remember about Slowpoke, but Sandshrew and Sandslash definitely had different moves when they evolved in either their regular form or their Alolan form.
I think that's probably something they just decide, because I think you get a prescribed move, but they could have different prescribed moves if it happens that day. Let's talk about the Psychic Spectacular.
Ooh, I think this has been an annual event for a while now, hasn't it, Wolf Doctor?
Yes. I don't remember when the first one was, if it was the first year or if it was later, but it's been around for quite a while. And the Psychic Spectacular will be happening this year from September 18th to September 22nd. So that's just 4 days.
And there's going to be a new Pokemon coming out.
Which one is it, Miss Sylver?
Well, I'm not really sure how to say its name correctly, but it's Hatenna, the calm Pokemon.
I have no idea how to pronounce that either.
I always wondered why it was called the calm Pokemon. I mean, it does look like it's sleeping, but
It's a psychic Pokemon. Sometimes they're calming.
It soothes people.
And part of this is that we're going to have Dynamax debut of Beldum during this event. So that's how they're going to hook us in. It'll be just like in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, where every weekend or two they've got some new Dynamax.
So if we get new Megas every week, new Dynamaxes every week, eventually Gigantamaxes,
Yes.
there's going to be a lot to catch.
Yes. Now, Hatenna, besides appearing in the wild, may be hatching from 7-kilometer eggs.
Ooh, that's another way to get one of them. I like that. And there's going to be a lot of psychic Pokemon that will be shiny available for this as well.
Just not Hatenna, because it's not introduced yet. But you can also catch it in field research tasks. There are so many ways. And even there's going to be a paid timed research.
Ooh, and a collection challenge.
This should be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited. That event is kind of short, though, so keep that in mind that it just goes until, is that correct? Just 4 days till September 22nd in the morning? Oh, in the evening.
In the evening. It's technically 5-ish days. It's not a lot, though. You got to make your time.
Make sure you get some Hatenna before the event ends.
We're going to need it, and we're going to need a lot of candy because it takes, it's one of those 25 and 100 evolution candies. So if you want to get a Hatenna and then evolve it into Hattrem. That's the middle one, which I can never remember.
I can't either.
And Hatterene is the final form, the tall one that wears a hat with the weird hand on the end, I guess.
When I was looking up information about this Pokemon earlier, I didn't realize that in the Pokemon mainline games, the complementary Pokemon to this one is Impidimp. Like one version of the game gets Hatenna, the other person gets Impidimp. And apparently Hatenna only come in female and Impidimp only come in male. And I never realized this the whole time when I was playing. I was like, what?
I don't think I fully absorbed that either.
I just knew that Impidimp looked crazy. That's all.
It does. Hatenna is not too crazy, but Hatterene is kind of a strange Pokemon too.
I do enjoy Impidimp's final evolution. Grimmsnarl, the giant towering beast of a Pokemon with horns, nightmarish.
What's the middle form?
No one knows these things.
It's right there, Miss Sylver.
I know, but I have no idea without reading it off the page. Morgarum.
Yeah, no, you never know the middle form.
Spooky.
Who knows the middle form? No one's favorite is the middle form. Now, Miss Sylver, we are going to do a Back to Basics episode that'll follow up this one. And it's going to be about your item index and item storage.
Items. I love items.
We'll come back to that topic later on the next episode, or whatever we're calling them, the B episodes, whatever we say. Those will be
the A side and the B side.
Yeah.
I was about to say, do clothing count as items? I love items, and I'm like,
no, it's not. It's not an item. That's totally. Look, avatars is going to have to be a whole nother episode, Miss Sylver. Whole nother episode.
Well, before we get into that, we were talking a lot about raids. There is a Terra raid this weekend going on in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
This is it, Miss Sylver. This is what I'm talking about. Gosh, there were raids. There were max raids of some kind in.
They weren't called max raids, but in Scarlet and Violet, you went through it was in the DLC. You went into those little caves with a group, and you went through and you fought Pokemon and took ones that you fought to put on your team, possibly.
I don't know. I don't know. But talk about this Pokemon Scarlet and Violet special thing.
Well, this Terra raid also went on last weekend. And if you were tortured like me, you didn't catch it, despite trying multiple different strategies. So if anyone has good strategies on how to catch this Incineroar, it's Incineroar. I've got to get it. Giant Wrestler Cat Pokemon. Please let me know. The Incineroar is a dark type. And of course, when you catch it, it does have that Mightiest mark on it. But you've got to catch it first. Oh,
Really tough, huh?
It's very difficult.
This is something else. You know, we talked about this, about how I find terror raids a little bit confusing, what happens in them. Same thing in the max raids that we're doing in Pokemon Go. Like, are you supposed to hit that little max bubble? Like, what are you supposed to do here? How does this all work? I don't quite get it. What are we supposed to do here?
You're learning.
Yes.
Well, Wolf Doctor, there are other things going on this weekend. If you play the card game or you just like collecting cards because it's fun, there is a card game event going on in GameStops all over the country. You should look up on this website to see if there's a GameStop near you that is participating and will have an event sometime this weekend.
Yeah, September 13th, 14th, and 15th.
And I've gone to a couple of these trade and play events in the past, and you know, I've usually brought a little tiny book of cards and I've traded with some random people, and sometime I hope to play with someone at one of these events. But
You've
they're usually
never
pretty
played,
cool.
Miz Sylver?
Not at a trade and play event.
That's so sad.
Someday.
That's so sad. But they do have space for that, right? Like there's a setup so you could actually, if you wanted to.
There's usually a table set up so you can go out there and play.
Well, what about new Pokemon things you can buy that are not just playing cards?
Well, since the Pokemon Company knows that we all like food a lot, they've come out with a giant plush that's 21 3/4 inches of one of the delicious food Pokemon. And I don't think this plush is edible, but it looks edible. I don't know. What do you think of this Appleton Poke plush?
Okay. I actually think the plush is really good, even though this is not one of my favorite Pokemon.
You don't like the apple pie Pokemon?
I'm just not big into it. It's weird. I don't like, what's the Flapple or whatever the baby version is? Like all of those things. The worms and Pokemon apples. I'm not into it.
I love the entire line. It just made me so happy that they had this splitting line of delicious looking Pokemon. Would you like it more if it was a berry pie? Or I was about to say corn. I'm trying to go corn pie. Some
banana
other sort of
cream
creature.
pie.
Yes, if it was a banana cream pie.
I'm sorry. I don't love them. I just don't love those Pokemon. I think that plush looks very nice though.
It's pretty excellent.
With that top with the lattice on it and the
Ooh.
leaves. Like I feel like it looks correct.
There are also more things from Pokemon that I'm not sure if any of these could be used for you or not. I can't use them, but they came out with a lot of cases for phones. Well, I could use the cool makeup bags and jewelry, but I wish that one of these phone cases worked on my new phone. I know that's not a phone that came out in the last year, but it's much newer than my old phone.
It is newer than your old phone. You know, they also have Skinny Dip is doing a collab with Pokemon. They do have clothes as well, Miz Sylver.
Ooh.
You're looking at the phone cases, but they do also have shirts and sweatshirts.
Some of these phone cases are pretty good, though.
Oh, yeah. No, there's tons of cool Pokemon stuff.
And I do like the little makeup bags.
Yeah, they've just done so much cool Pokemon stuff. You've gotta get into just the clothes, Miz Sylver.
Ooh. I'll have to check that out.
Apparently you can also, and I love this on their website, sort by Pokemon type. Not just item type, but Pokemon type. So like, I only want to see electric Pokemon related things.
I just want fire Pokemon. The entire website should just be burning.
Yeah. I mean, they have Raichu iPhone cases, not just.
Ooh.
Right? So all kinds of Pokemon options here. You can get a Jolteon phone case.
Oh.
You can get a Magneton if you're one of those weird people.
Wait, there's a Magneton phone case?
There's Electrode and Voltorb, separate ones.
Man, and here I was just looking at, such typical things like, oh, look, there's like Pikachu or Eevee.
Yeah, they're going all out on this.
Vaporeon.
Yeah. You can get a Vulpix t-shirt. You can get a Ninetales t-shirt. There's all kinds of stuff, Miss Sylver. All kinds.
All kinds.
But it's pretty excellent clothing. I love it. Now, Miss Sylver, were there any Pokemon things when you went to PAX?
Ah, yes. PAX West, formerly known as PAX Prime, was just a couple weekends ago. And of course, as it was the 20th anniversary of PAX, there was lots of cool Pokemon events going on. The Play Lab was there, which you attended at PAX East before. And they had a similar experience where you could go through and play the card game against your friends. And on the video game experience, I was very happy because they had the option for experienced players to choose rental teams and fight your friends.
Rental teams? Is that what they call them?
Oh, have you seen this before?
No.
And when you go to do a lot of the competitions or battling, there are rental teams that you can get. And I'm not sure how long this has been going on, but in a lot of the games, they'll have set Pokemon that somebody has put together with items. There's probably some sort of strategy in mind that you can try and figure out.
Wait, is this something that like a random other player puts together, this rental team? Are they are they constructed by people from the Pokemon company? How are these generated? Could I find Miz Sylver's rental team online?
I don't know if you can share your rental teams with others. I always assumed they were made by the Pokemon company and just put there as example teams, but now I want to know more.
This is important stuff that I want to know, Miz Sylver.
Yes. And it was nice because at the con, they had little plastic play mats that had a list of all the rental teams, what the moves they knew were, items they had, and their abilities. So you could even try and look through and be like, oh, this one is the one for me.
That's the one for me. I know all about how to use that strategy.
And I think it would be fun just to do more of the battling like this. I think it would help expand my competitive battling in the modern game because I haven't done as much since Sword and Shield.
That's very cool.
Definitely a neat feature. And of course, the Playlab had lots of cool giveaways. They had the new sushi pin. Wait, what are those?
I
the
needed
sushi.
to know the pin, the pin with the cards. Was it a different sushi this time?
So, Penny Arcade has official pins that are licensed by them, and the Pokemon Company has official ones with Penny Arcade where the Pokemon is on top of a little set of cards, like the Wolf Doctor was saying. And this was the next in the sushi Pokemon series.
The Tatsugiri.
Tatsugiri, there we go.
Right,
just calling it sushi.
Tatsugiri comes in 3 forms: curly, droopy, and stretchy.
Is the droopy form the pink one?
Droopy's the pink one.
Okay, that's the one that just came out.
Oh, wow, cool. So it is almost like these are some of the most coveted pins.
Yes. And these lines, of course, were long to get through to play all of the games. But you got some other stuff, too, for playing.
Oh, yeah. No, like if you are able to make it to the Pokemon Play Lab, it was a great experience. The coaches are great there. Like the staff working there is super friendly and gives good advice and will explain anything you need. Because I went with someone else who had never played. I also had never played the Pokemon card game before. Got great advice on how to play. Explained all the stuff, the play mats, all of that stuff to us. It was just very, very helpful. Plus, you get the most coveted pin at the show, as far as I understand.
They were definitely very coveted, and I saw people trying to trade anything to get them.
Yes, people will definitely sell these on eBay later if they don't want them, which is upsetting because it's so hard to get one. You know, you really have to wait in that long line.
And they did have a second pin for trade, but this one was not a Penny Arcade one, but I still thought it was pretty cool.
What?
They had one of Sprigatito. It was basically a giant, close-up of a Sprigatito, and that was just what the pin was. It's very cool looking.
Oh, I'm sure Professor Evergreen loved that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and we also got lots and lots of stickers at this event, so I was very excited.
Stickers!
And one of the coolest things, I wish I could have gotten more than one Wolf Doctor. I'm sorry. I will have to show you. This is perhaps one of the coolest things I've ever seen them give away. It's not just a cleaning pad for your Switch or your phone or whatever, but flip it over. Yeah, on one side, there's the Charmander with the Pikachu.
The front side has the Battle Lab logo, which I've always liked because it's got that multicolored thing going. And then Pikachu riding a Charizard. They both look very aggressive. This is incredible on the back, though.
I was saying to whoever the Playlab professor was that I was stressed out because I didn't have a type chart at home on my wall that was from the newest generations. I have an old type chart that doesn't include fairy, and I can never remember a couple of the interactions.
Oh, man.
And she was like, you're going to be happy with this.
This is great. That's actually the best one of these I've ever seen.
Like, this is great. It's small, portable.
Yeah, and you'll have it in your Switch case.
Yes.
That should be the one you keep in your Switch case.
I'll have to replace the Nintendo Switch giant
case,
cloth, as I have different sizes of the Nintendo Switch cloths.
Yes. I mean, that one's great. It's classic, but this is even better.
Mm-hmm. And helpful.
Well, Miz Sylver, I heard you had malasadas, which is a Pokemon food as far as most people are concerned, not a real food. But it is real.
Was in shock. On our way to PAX, the very first day in the morning, we were trying to find some good food to eat, and we saw a place nearby that we saw some people sitting at. We're like, oh, that looks like a cool little cafe. Go up to look at the menu. I'm like, oh, they have a whole bunch of Hawaiian food. That sounds good. And malasadas, we're eating here right now. Right meowth.
I mean, the rest of the food looks good too.
Wolf Doctor, these malasadas, they had like an orange dreamsicle one and a coconut one.
Whoa.
And for anyone who has not had a malasada, to me it seemed almost like you took a donut and you somehow made it even more amazing. It was so crispy on the outside and fluffy and chewy on the inside. And these ones were filled, though they also had ones that weren't filled. Well, I would say you're probably a malasada expert, as you've had them more than once.
Yeah, they're definitely a yeasty dough. So it's a yeasty donut.
Okay.
So that's why it's like that chewy, fluffy inside. Very typical that they're sugared on the outside. Granulated sugar on the outside is not uncommon. Sometimes they do fill them in traditional settings as well, like a cream filling. Not like a pudding cream, but like a fluffy cream. More like a whipped cream kind of filling. So they are delicious. Oh. They are bite size. No, they're not. They're bigger than a donut hole.
I mean, I will try.
Yeah, and they're best straight out of the fryer when they're fluffy, warm, and chewy. Oh, so good.
And this restaurant that we went to get these malasadas at and breakfast, Marination in Seattle, they were definitely made fresh and to order, and I would go back there anytime at all. Delicious.
The rest of the food looks good, too.
They had tater tots.
Yeah.
All sorts of things.
I would definitely go here. It looks awesome.
Mm-hmm. Drinks were good, too.
Drinks? You had breakfast drinks?
I think wine in a glass that you open at your table, that's a breakfast drink, right?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, Miz Sylver. Breakfast drinks.
Breakfast drinks. Oh, and speaking of food in Seattle, I don't know how this happened, but there's a parfait place near the convention center called Nana's Green Tea.
Whoa.
And we may have gone there twice during the convention.
Oh my gosh.
I think I put on 20 pounds.
Ice cream parfaits. Yum.
These are not just normal ice cream parfaits. They have amazing ingredients like mochi, black bean, or sesame, or lychee, and I don't even know what half the things are that they put in the layers.
Good. Black sesame ice cream. Oh,
yes.
This place sounds incredible.
I mean, anytime you go to Seattle, you should go there every day. Just why not?
Yeah, that's the problem with going on these great trips. You know, you get too much delicious food.
Very unsafe.
Miz Sylver, how was your meetups at PAX East, PAX West, PAX Prime, PAX West?
Whatever that convention was over Labor Day weekend. Wolf Doctor, I am very excited and happy and thankful for how many people showed up for the Nintendo cosplay meetup. There was a lot. And the Pokemon cosplay meetup. We even had some people from the Pokemon company stop on by
for our
cosplay meetup.
Now, were you giving out prizes this year for any of the...
We did have some raffles.
Okay.
So we gave out some gift cards and a couple cool Zelda t-shirts that glowed in the dark. I didn't even realize it.
That's awesome.
And some pins and some other things. And there were so many amazing cosplayers. I don't know if you looked at the photos at all or if you have any favorites.
My gosh, I looked, but that was a while ago. I don't remember anymore. Now, Miz Sylver, I don't know if you're allowed to say your favorites. Are you?
Ooh. I mean, there was a lot of favorites there.
Right.
Going through it, I was very happy that for the Nintendo cosplay meetup, we did have a Kid Icarus Pit cosplayer there.
That's excellent.
He had weapons, feathers, armor, everything. It was spot on perfect. And as that's one of my favorite characters, and I The only other cosplayer I've seen on this level was, I think, the professional one hired from Nintendo.
Professional?
When
Oh, yeah.
Kid Icarus Uprising came out on the Nintendo 3DS.
Wow. And what about your Pokemons?
Oh, the Pokemon. Making me choose between all of my children. Why? It might be the Sailor Leafeon that was there. I think you would have liked her outfit too.
Sailor Leafeon? I love that concept.
It was almost like you took Leafeon and you added a sailor skirt, some sparkles. And I was very happy with everyone who put down their Pokemon plushes in the giant circle of Pokemon plushes. For just a plushes photo, we also have photos of Team Rocket trying to steal them.
the Pokemon.
Oh, and speaking of that, you would have enjoyed the villains photo from the Nintendo cosplay meetup because we had sexy Waluigi posing in the front.
Will I be upset when I see these photos later?
I think you will be intrigued.
Okay, Miss Sylver, tell me more about the other things you saw at this. Tell me more about the other things you saw at this convention.
There was a lot of amazing things at the convention. And outside the convention, I'm going to nominate our Pokestop of the week there, being the Tetris wall, which I can't remember. Have I ever sent you a Tetris wall when I went to Seattle before? I don't know if this is a new stop, but it was very close to the convention center.
I don't remember it from before.
Orange Yoshi seemed to be quite a fan of it when I sent it to her this time.
That is, I mean, it is cool.
Yep. And I didn't just play games at the con. I did see a couple former special guests there from Brooke Kelsey.
Oh,
from
yes.
Pink Gorilla Games. And the
She just did
History
her
Foundation.
new book, right?
Yes. And she gave me a copy of it.
Oh, my goodness. Miss Sylver, you're going to have to read it now, though.
I will.
You like to read. You
I
just
do
never
like to
have
read.
time.
I need to finish the fantasy novel that I'm reading, which is pretty short, I think. Very fast read, so then I can get onto this. But if you went by the Pink Gorilla booth, she would autograph and also draw a picture of your favorite villager. Who would you have had her draw?
Wow.
Do you have a favorite villager?
I don't know if I have a favorite
Or maybe
villager.
like a special villager, like somebody who visits, or one of the special characters?
I don't have my own Animal Crossing games because I would be addicted. That's the problem. I don't have my own games. But to pick just one villager would be very hard.
Mm.
I like a lot of the villagers. I do like the cats. They are some of my favorites. But I like some of the other weird villagers too. Some of the alligators make me laugh. Some of the eagles make me laugh too.
Ooh.
I like a lot of them, Miss Sylver. I don't have a specific villager. Is yours cat?
It might be Cat the cat now. You made me think of Sly the alligator. I think that's one of them, who I'm quite fond of.
But cat is your person.
Cat
your cat is
my
your cat.
person.
Let's go with that.
Yes. Move next door to me.
Cat.
Yes.
You've been besties for a long time. You've
For
got cat's
forever.
portrait in almost every one of your houses.
Definitely.
In every game. You're a cat fan.
I'm a huge, huge cat fan. And I saw someone else that I randomly know at PAX West that I didn't know was going to be here. The husband of a former special guest, Rachel Lahark. Her husband was there taking pictures of the beautiful cosplayers and video at the booth for Zenless Zero Zone. Have you heard of this game?
Oh, okay. I feel like I've heard about it on social media, but I don't know a lot about it. It's just come up for me.
That's interesting because I didn't know anything about it. And even if you just walk by the booth, they had a huge setup. They had a professional cosplayer. Her name was Taiga, who was in charge of all the cosplayers there, and she was also the MC. She had quite an elaborate outfit. Everything for this game is very anime inspired, I would say. It was almost like play the waifu game of your dreams.
Okay.
But it looked like an adventure game where you go around and do different missions. Well, from playing what I could of it there. And they also had different mini games that you could play too that seemed kind of addictive.
Oh, no.
I know. I was like, oh no, these mini games, this is how they're going to get you. And it seems like they have a pretty vocal fan base just because of the designs of all a few characters. So we got some really cool giveaways from there as well. After going around and playing everything and doing everything you possibly could at the booth.
That's awesome.
But there was definitely a lot of cool games to play. Other than that, I don't know if you've seen Astrobot. I'm curious if you have, because I think you'd probably like that too.
No, but I've also, that's one of those ones I've actually seen some gameplay footage of. It's a platformer, right?
Yeah. And I was aware of it because I have a couple friends who are very obsessed with Astrobot from the Playroom on PlayStation VR, which
right.
I remember opening, but then I played just for the music games and horror games in VR and never went back. But playing this, I might have to pick it up. It is a platformer, like you said, but the controller's reaction, like the haptic feedback, it's like nothing else I've played before. I can't really describe it because it's like you could feel things. It's indescribable. It was like a magical experience, which I would highly recommend. And there's even a special Astrobot controller that's themed, but those are pretty much sold out everywhere.
Oh, wow. Oh, of course it's sold out.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of cool things about it. I haven't gotten to play it yet, as I don't have a PS5.
But it seemed like a very extremely solid game. I mean, it looks like it might be probably one of the best games of the entire year.
People are saying that already. Yeah.
It could be that good.
What about panels, Miz Sylver? Did you go to anyone else's good panels?
I did get to attend some of the Friday night concert before we decided we needed to get parfaits.
Oh my goodness.
We needed dessert. But also, I did go to the Monster Hunter Wilds and Capcom panel.
Oh, Miz Sylver, you're Monster Hunters.
I know.
Monster Hunter.
They had the producer there with a lovely translator who was helping get across his ideas. I wish I could speak foreign languages so I could see what he's actually saying. But the producer, Ryuza, I'm not sure if I'm saying his name right, but he was great. And I know you don't play Monster Hunter, but I think one of the coolest things about this, I know it's so simple, is usually you can only bring one weapon out on a hunt with you. You can bring 2 different weapons.
Wait, and you can switch between them?
You can switch.
What is this?
So, I mean, that gives a lot of options for if you're like trying to cut off tails of things or trying to bludgeon certain Pokemon's faces. It's a great, fun new feature. In addition to the graphics, obviously look phenomenal. The gameplay looks phenomenal.
That's exciting.
So, I'm very excited for the new game.
Whoa.
Yes.
You'd have to call up John and Mary.
Definitely. I also did play a VR game, which seemed pretty cool. Another anime-inspired game. This one's called Sword Reverie.
You like games where you get to swing swords and stuff. So
yes.
that doesn't surprise me that you like something called Sword Reverie.
I mean, VR, either we got Tetris or we got something where we're doing as much crazy motion as possible to possibly attack something.
It's amazing you haven't assaulted anybody yet.
It is. But this game seems pretty solid. You're attacking different elementals using different types, and the artwork is beautiful. The gameplay flows really well. It's not out on the Quests yet. It's only out on Oculus, but when it does,
Gotcha.
I think I'm going to have to pick this one up.
Gotcha. Now, what about the arcade? Did they actually have an arcade this time around?
Wolf Doctor, there was an arcade.
Thank goodness.
We did go to round 1 the night before, just in case there was not an arcade.
Emergency arcade. Arcade emergency.
And Wolf Doctor, we talked about it. Castlevania, Marble of Souls.
You went and you won
we
the
went.
cards.
These are some of the cards I'm showing Wolf Doctor.
Did you get enough to do the final redemption?
So there were 3 of us playing Marble of Souls. And between all of us, all playing on these 2 machines next to each other, probably throwing too many marbles and balls inside of this. We basically started playing this and couldn't stop playing it. It's very addictive.
It just seems like a crazy awesome game.
And it took us a while to figure out the mechanics. But once we did where you're trying to get the balls to get maximum marble capacity, we would sometimes get little cards to come and fall down that are plastic cards. And in theory, you're supposed to feed these back in to get different pieces of the event.
Right.
We didn't get all of the different ones. So we all just kept ours for now and hoping we'll go back and eventually get at least one full set of the cards so we can watch
the whole thing happen.
the whole thing at once, as opposed to piecemealing it.
I'm looking at these and I'm like, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, plus this extra vampire killer whip with 20 tickets on it. You've got to be close. How many different cards does this take?
We are not close at all. So the cards I showed you, Big K and Professor Evergreen, I think also have all of these exact cards, except I think one of them is missing one of them, and instead has card number 12.
12?
I know! I was like, we're only up to like 6 or 7, and there's up to 12. They're ultra rare cards, it looks like. And then there's another one of those. There's item cards as well.
This is really complicated. You're going to have to save these and
Yes.
hope that you can get them all together. Oh my gosh.
I will have to see if they have this at the round one up in Maine.
I knew it took a lot of these, but I didn't realize how many.
And we were playing, I'm embarrassed to say this, for a very long time. So I'm not sure how long it takes to get the full storyline. All of the cards to put in to get the whole thing.
When you complete the storyline, do you get anything other than pleasure?
I think you get tickets.
Okay. Because I was like, it's still worth doing just to see what happens. I see that. Like, when we watched the videos, I was like, I see why this is worth doing just as a visual spectacle. This is amazing. But
we managed to hit the jackpot, Professor Evergreen, the jackpot of 500 marbles. And I should send you the video for that. It looks absolutely crazy, as in this game, you're basically dropping marbles down to try and push. It's a pusher game, push different items off the edge. And the sheer ridiculousness of all of them falling down through all the different holes. And
this is insane.
We had fun.
That is insane.
But yes, you asked about the arcade. There was an arcade at PAX. I was very pleased. They had cool things like DDR. I ended up playing Pump It Up because DDR was full most of the time. And I can't believe I got sucked into playing Pump It Up and being confused. I love the game. It just, I don't play it a lot, so it's hard.
Yeah, if you're not used to it.
They had a new dance game that I'm not familiar with that I tried out. But they had some very cool ancient arcade games. Well, I guess not really ancient. From 1999, when we were younger, that I've never seen before. There was one called Quick and Crash. That's from 99, from Namco. And we were talking about mechanical shooters the other week because of Fun Spot up in New Hampshire. But this was a mechanical shooter, so there's actual real physical objects you're shooting.
Whoa,
not just a screen.
Cool.
Except in the last round, I'm not sure how this works out. There's a cup you see there. And during the last round, you have to shoot the cup to break it apart. And it breaks apart. And it looks like it actually breaks and explodes everywhere. And it's a real physical cup you see. So they must use some sort of crazy illusion to make it look like it breaks and then hide the real cup. I don't know how this works. It's beautiful. It's
wow. Cool. Are you sure there's not just like a stock of cups that, like, they have to refill the cups?
Considering people, like, there was a whole group of us playing.
I'm kidding.
That would be crazy.
I'm kidding.
Also on the outside section of the arcade where this Quick and Crash game was, there was Sonic Blast Heroes, which has nothing to do with Sonic.
What?
But it's a game where there's a little punching bag. There's a monster on the screen. Oh. You can choose which monster that you want to take out. Would you punch a dinosaur, Wolf Doctor? I know you love dinosaurs.
I'd still do it.
Try. Would you punch maybe a train?
I'd try. That would hurt, though.
How about punching, I don't know, a meteor?
Okay, that's pretty funny. I like that.
But this game, you just get one punch. And there was a whole group of us going back and forth between these two games on Friday night.
Nice.
Like for, I don't know, even an hour trying to figure out the mechanics of it.
That's cool.
It was pretty fun.
I want to try this cup destroying one now.
Oh, it's pretty good. I've never seen anything like it. It was very unique.
Wow. All right, Miz Sylver, any other last bits that you want to talk about before we move on to a few other Nintendo and such items?
I did manage to make it over to the Nintendo booth, play the new games there. The new Zelda game.
Right.
Looks pretty awesome. It definitely seems like a puzzle type game, so I'm very happy with how it turned out. And I'm curious how the new Mario Party Jamboree will be. We just played a couple games over there.
Oh, I've heard great things. I've heard it's great.
I didn't get to play Monster Hunter, so I'm sad, but I did get to wave and talk to my friends, Jess and Jen, who worked at the booth there. And I managed to finally stop by on the last day of the con. They had an autograph section where they had Final Fantasy voice actors there.
Oh, cool.
Including the voice actors for Tifa, Eris, and Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I managed to get an autograph from Britt Baron, who's the voice actress for Tifa in the new games.
So I actually do know who that is because I watched Glow.
I was wondering if you'd watch that because I had another friend who I meant to watch it because she was just a small part on it, but the premise of the show sounded so
great.
cool.
It's worth seeing.
Wrestlers. I mean, I just like wrestling, so
I was
fun.
bummed there were only 2. I wish they had more seasons.
Oh.
I wish they had more seasons. I really liked it.
But she's also from that, so now I got another reason to check out Glow.
Definitely.
Well, Wolf Doctor, I think that's everything with PAX.
That's a lot. PAX is a lot.
It was very, very full. All of our days were very long, but I think the energy was kept up by all of the parfaits.
Too much ice cream, huh?
Yes. I'm blaming everyone else. It's not my fault we went there twice.
I love this. Miz Sylver, let's talk about a few more game items that we wanted to mention. I did not watch the Indie Direct. I'm a bad person.
That's all right, Wolf Doctor. There's a billion games in this Indie Direct. I think it's like 40 minutes. So
they always are. The Indie Directs are always that long, and there's always a million games that you're like, I really should think about this.
I think the highlight for me was probably Tetris Forever, which is a Tetris game that's going to be coming out that has a whole bunch of different versions of Tetris in it, including some documentation about history of Tetris and new Tetris modes.
So I don't want to be a buzzkill.
No!
But isn't Tetris? I mean, I love Tetris. I love the multiplayer versions. I love it all. But how many versions of Tetris do you need, Miz Sylver? You need all of them, huh?
I mean, Wolf Doctor, there are definitely variations of this. Like the original NES version. Well, I shouldn't say original because I think the arcade was the original, but the NES version is finally coming to Nintendo Switch Online, and the playstyle for that is very different than modern Tetris is.
Okay.
Just because of how the blocks stick to each other. That's the best way I can put it.
Yes. Yeah.
And
setting time.
And in that version, I feel like any competitions I've seen, it's always been high score. Whereas newer ones, they'll probably have you against each other, and there might be different ways to attack each other, so you might want to do different things strategically.
Okay. All right. You're right.
It's okay. It's okay. It has the same basic premise for the game, but there's so much.
There's so much Tetris.
You can't have enough Tetris.
Miz Sylver, I feel like we haven't talked as much about PlayStation lately. I feel like it used to be a bigger topic on the show. We used to go to those cool PlayStation movie things, like the trailer previews, PlayStation Day.
Well, they haven't had those in the movies in a while.
I guess not. But
COVID ruined everything.
Yeah. We should make sure we talk more and more about PS5 stuff and the new PS5 Pro.
Which just got announced the other day. And this one does look like it will be a lot more powerful than the last one. So I'm curious how different games will look on it. But I think probably the coolest feature, is that it has twice as much memory. Please.
Yes, for
more
all of
memory.
your games. Thank
Because
goodness.
I have external hard drives for all my PlayStation since PS4, but you always need more space.
Yes. Otherwise, load times are prohibitive.
Ugh.
But PlayStation 5 Pro pre-orders will start on September 26th.
So if you want
on
to
the
get
PlayStation website,
you can start pre-ordering then. But the newest PlayStation 5 Pro doesn't have a disk drive. There's no option for one either.
But it doesn't have a ton of storage. What is it if it's not a drive?
Well, it has a lot. I mean, it has more storage, but it doesn't come with. There's still a lot of games still have a lot that they download from the internet a lot of the times that they copy over from the disc.
Gotcha.
But it's just surprising that they don't even have a disc option, whereas the regular PS5 has that.
Okay.
You can buy an external disc drive, and you can also buy an external stand, whereas the original PlayStation 5 does come with a stand to help prop up your PS5.
So they can get airflow and not overheat.
It's got a pretty hefty price tag, though. Almost $700. And that's just without the
base
stand
model,
or
yeah.
anything else.
I think it comes with one controller.
I
think.
Yeah, actually, that was not completely clear from what I was looking at. And it must come with a controller. That would seem crazy.
Yeah, I think it comes with one controller.
Wolf Doctor, you have to get one of these so we can go look at the beautiful graphics at your house.
I know, on my 4K TV, yes.
Oh, that's right. The Wolf Doctor has a giant TV that's beautiful for playing games and watching movies.
Watching 4K things, yeah.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
So, Miz Sylver, what about the new Sonic movie trailer?
Well, there's a lot of cool media events. A new Sonic trailer for Sonic 3 just dropped. This movie looks like it's about Shadow mainly. I don't know much about the Sonic universe. I did used to watch the cartoon show, but I still don't know much
I
about
thought
the
you
Sonic
were
universe.
big into Sonic. I didn't realize you didn't know a lot about Sonic.
Most of what it is just the original Genesis games and then watching various TV shows.
Yeah. So, but this is going to be like the third live action is what we call these.
Yeah.
They're not quite live action.
I know,
but
I
you
guess
know what
Sonic
mean.
isn't technically live action.
Sonic is not live action.
The rest of the movie is. But the first two were pretty good, and it's amazing that there was a good sequel.
Yeah, I was actually super impressed that the Sonic movie was as good as it was.
Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for this one.
There's a lot of other cool movies coming out, though, Miss Sylver. I know you talked about this new Sailor Moon movie.
Yes, Sailor Cosmos, which is apparently already out, so I need to watch it. You can see it on Netflix, but if you're into Sailor Moon, you can check that one out. Looks like it focuses on, was it Galaxia?
I don't know who Sailor Galaxia is. I don't understand who these people all
See
are.
what I remember. But I'm curious if you were excited about for this. I had to put this on here because growing up, one of my favorite animes was Ranma 1/2.
I remember Ranma.
I used to pretend I was Shampoo because she turns into a cat and she's
Right.
Chinese and
Yeah, no,
has delicious food.
everything you like.
Everything. But they're remaking the series and it's going to come out on October 5th and I can't wait to see how it turns out.
And it is an anime, right? They're not redoing it as something weird and different. It's just going to be a new.
And I think they might have a lot of the same voice actors from when it originally came out.
Whoa.
So it'll be cool to see how it goes.
Ranma 1/2 is a comedy sort of anime, and it's a fun show.
And the premise is that there are all these little wells from different drowned people or creatures in an area, and people have fallen into these wells. So when you get wet with cold water, you might turn into a cat or a panda or a pig or a woman, which could be unfortunate if you were a man.
The whole thing doesn't quite make sense, but don't read too much into it. It's really a setup for comedy.
Yes. Don't worry. You can always turn back to your normal form if you take a hot bath. Cold versus hot water.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Wolf Doctor, is there a creature you would like to turn into? Given this option, would it be a wolf?
It might be a wolf, yes. Or I could become a mighty hawk of some kind and soar.
That would be pretty epic.
Right?
What
What about you, Miss Sylver? What would you pick?
I'm just going to turn into the cat.
Meow.
Meow.
You would finally understand what Anubis is talking about this whole time.
That would be great. Maybe I could try and date the ghost cat, which Shampoo does not want to date in the series, but there's a giant ghost cat, if you've seen that. It's scary.
Well, Miss Sylver, you mentioned this new event that's starting Friday, September 20th, I believe.
Ooh. At the aquarium right here. You might be interested. It's an Animal Crossing event that's going to be set up at the aquarium. And they first did this out in Seattle at the aquarium there. But now it's finally coming here.
This is crazy. It's an Animal Crossing New Horizons New England Aquarium crossover event. I don't understand what happens at this event.
I'm assuming that they would maybe put more emphasis on a lot of the creatures you can fish up in Animal Crossing. You can actually learn a lot about wildlife, flora and fauna in the game. I mean, I've definitely learned of different creatures, and all of those different, like, 7 Wonders type things that you can collect in the game. It teaches you a lot about the real world.
Somewhat, yes. Yes, it does.
But this exhibit will tell you more about these sea creatures that you catch in the game.
That would be cool. I need to figure out what this is all about, but there's the special grand opening of this exhibit September 20th.
And if you're interested in going, you can buy tickets to the special grand opening event now. Or, of course, if you just go to the aquarium while the event is running there, you can go see all of this for free as part of your aquarium ticket.
Which is awesome. Well, Miz Sylver, I think that's all the news that we wanted to talk about this week.
Wait, what if people want to find out information about how they can buy their $1 billion PlayStation 5 Pro or learn about max raids or all of these other things?
Well, we'll put some stuff in the show notes, which you can find on our blog, Miz Sylver. Do you know how to find our blog?
I think it's PokeProblemsPodcast.blogspot.com.
That is correct, and that is the place to go to find all things Poke Problems. It has the show notes that you can leave comments on. It has an email web form.
Email?
Yeah, in case you don't want to have to use your real email, you can just plop some stuff into the web and send it our way, and we'll look at it, because we're like that. We look at our emails sometimes. It has links to the show's Facebook and, links to now it has a link to our Spotify feed, which I'm still fighting with a little bit, but it is on there. It
Wolf
has
Doctor, you can do it.
YouTube Music link and the Apple Podcasts link. So all of these things are on there. And links to our X.
Wait a minute, Wolf Doctor, don't you have an X?
Now, what about the show's X, though?
Oh, the show!
Tell them the show's X, Miz Sylver.
I think the show's X might be every animal and Pokemon on this planet, cast and crew.
That's right. It's at Pokemon Cast. At Pokemon Cast. But Miz Sylver, what is your X?
I think it's just Silver Cat.
It's Miz Sylver.
Oh.
MZSYLVER. Silver, 1/2.
But wait, Wolf Doctor, don't you have an X?
I'm not even sure anymore.
Isn't it the Hawk Doctor?
Oh! At the Wolf Doctor. At the Wolf Doctor. Well, listeners, thank you for joining us this week on the Poke Problems Podcast.
Thank you for listening.
I am the Wolf Doctor.
And this is Miz Sylver.
And we are reminding you to
Game on!
Was that Jonathan Marlin? Is he secretly a hawk?
Maybe he's an eagle.